Hello everyone. Am I audible? Please confirm yes if am I audible. Am I audible? Great. Apologies for the delay. There was some net technical issue. I think there was some issue with the probably sound system. Something get got messed up and my voice was not audible at all. So I have to disconnect and create a new link because once you end the live stream, you have to create a new link to go ahead with it. So now we are ready. So we'll just have the session from 3:15 IST till 3:45. So are you ready? Okay, so once again, hello everyone, and just take a deep breath with me for a second. Wherever you are coming from today, whether it is work, traffic, family, just breathe in and be present here completely. And you are here right now, so that matters. So thank you so much. Great. So while you're coming in, I just want to know from maybe just drop a thumbs up comment if you are here from day 18. And if somebody is joining today for the first time, you can give a high five sign. So, who all have gone through day 18 with me? Great, great, great. Welcome back. So, let us begin with this session. I want to ask you something very important, and I really want you to sit with this. So, are you ready for the question? Okay, that's a simple one. When was the last time you felt genuinely rested, not just slept? Yet rested in your soul like the deep sleep. For an example, like you woke up and your whole system said, yes, this is right. That's the feeling I want. How many have you ever slept or felt this kind of rest? Because I'm going to tell you something that neuroscience has now confirmed. Something healers and ancient wisdom traditions have known forever. Mhm. So let's understand this. Your body is not breaking down because it is weak. Your body is breaking down because it is working overtime, trying to maintain a version of you that is not you. Let me repeat this. You are breaking down, your body is breaking down because of the overtime, the overwork that has been doing it for a while to maintain the version of you that is actually not you. So yesterday we just touched upon that glimpse. That is on day 18 we talked about DMIT. How about your fingerprints, literally the first unique imprint your body made in this world? Hold a map of who you were built to be, your dominant intelligences, your learning style, your purpose blueprint. And today, I want to talk about what happens when you live against that map. Yes. And when you spend years, sometimes decades, showing up as someone your nervous system doesn't recognize, even, the cost is real, the cost is measurable, and today we are naming it. So that is the cost of living misaligned. And for those of you who have been joining me for the first time, you are in the right place at the right time. I'm Ishita Bakchi. I'm a life coach specializing in emotional intelligence, a counseling psychologist, a DMIT counselor, and I also work with healing practices like pranic, Reiki, and crystal healing. And what my work really focuses on is the intersection of science and the soul. Because I believe that transformation that doesn't include your nervous system, your emotional body, and your innate blueprint doesn't actually stick. I have worked with people who came to me exhausted, confused, successful on paper, and empty inside. And almost every single one of them had the same root story. They had been living misaligned, sometimes for years. And that is what we are unpacking today. Yes. And I would also like to add, this is not something, you know, trying to scare or trying to bring some flaw in the discussion. This is something which people often realize but fail to accept, acknowledge, not to others, to themselves, until it is too late. We make it like this is normal, this is what it is to be. Let me tell you about one of my personal experience. Someone I know very closely, someone who is actually a friend of mine, and at one point she came to me for a help. So my indirect client, let's say I'm going to call her N, not her real name, yet her story is very real. And as I'm not going to mention who that person is, however, I have got the full permission to share it because she said, and I quote, if one person hears this and recognizes themselves, it was worth it. So profound. You know, and on paper had it together completely. Good qualification, a respectable job. She was in a role where she was technically helping people. She was showing up every day. She was doing all the things right. From the outside, you would have looked at her life and said, she is fine, she's doing great. Yet, here is what was happening on the inside. Every single morning, and she told me this herself, sitting right across from me. Every single morning, she woke up with this weight on her chest. Not anxiety exactly, not sadness exactly, just a dull relentless heaviness kind, like a cement slab on her chest. Like her body was dragging itself to a life it had never agreed to. And she did what all of us do when we feel that way. She did exactly. She told herself she was just tired. She told herself she needed a better morning routine. Often, when woke up very tired, we just tell that to ourselves that, yeah, we need a better morning routine. She tried everything: sleep hygiene, exercise, journaling, gratitude practices. She kept adding more and more tools, trying to fix what felt broken. Unfortunately, nothing shifted because the problem was not in her morning routine. The problem was that she was living a life designed for someone else's definition of success. And her nervous system knew it, even when her mind absolutely refused to admit it. Like I just said that we often get to know about it, but we are least bothered to accept or acknowledge it, admit it. And now here is a part of her story that I find most beautiful. When Anne came to me, she didn't come for DMIT initially. She came because she was exhausted and she didn't know why. And in our work together, we did her fingerprint analysis. Because as a counselor, we often cannot simply talk about what is wrong or right or solution and all that. There is first thing that is must to know the root cause of it and rather show something as an evident. And what else could be the better way to do something or show something which will be scientifically very clear, science backed information. So when we work together on, her fingerprint analysis, I remember her face when she looked at her report. I mean, I can't still forget that moment. She laughed first, and then she went very quiet. And in just few seconds, she cried. Because everything that had always felt most natural to her, the deep conversations, the ability to sit with someone in pain without flinching, the way she could feel what a room needed before anyone said a word. This drive, she had to go deep rather than wide. It was all there. It was all there. It has always been there. And she looked at me and said, Ishita, I have been apologizing for these exact things my whole life. I thought they made me too much, too sensitive, too slow, too whatever. And she spent years and years and years suppressing the most essential parts of herself, trying to fit into a mold that was never hers to fill. And that suppression, that daily, quiet, chronic act of editing yourself has a cost. And you know what it is? What type of cost it is? It's a biological cost, a psychological cost, a cost to your relationships, your energy system, and ultimately your health. We often don't tend to realize till we get, terribly hit on our health. Anne is doing very differently now. However, it took her recognizing that what she was experiencing wasn't weakness, it was a signal. And today, that is exactly what I want for you to understand, that caused so clearly, so deeply, that you stop mistaking your burnout for a personal failure and start listening to it as the most honest message your body has ever sent you. If you really get moved with this story, or you really feel motivated to do something for yourself, I want you to give some clue in the message. I don't want you to prompt, do this or type in this. I want some message from you to be sent in the chat. I'll give you 5 seconds. And let us understand some learning from the neuroscience behind this, of misalignment. So, part one I want to touch upon is chronic stress is not about pressure, it's about mismatch. Let's talk about what stress actually is at a neurological level. Because most of us think stress is about having too much to do. It's not. Trust me, it is not. Research from Dr. Robert Sapolsky at Stanford, one of the world's leading stress neuroscientists, tells us that the most damaging form of stress is not acute stress, which is intense, yet that stays for a short time. The most damaging form is chronic, low grade, persistent stress. The kind you barely notice anymore because it has become your baseline. And that's what the challenge is. If somebody is having terribly high fever, or say some issue with a stomach or something, they will immediately go to doctor, or say they will even try to think of what went wrong, why, or something. But when such thing or the emotional level or such situations arises, we barely think upon, we barely stop by and check ourselves. Are we all right? And what creates this kind of chronic stress? Do you want to know what creates this kind of chronic stress? It is sustained misalignment between your entire environment and your intrinsic self. And here's what happens in your body when you are consistently doing work that conflicts with your innate wiring. Your brain registers this as a threat, not a tiger, not a car accident, a quieter threat. So, this is bit technical terminologies. Your HPA axis, you can avoid this part, but just to understand what happens, that's your hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis activates. We often say that cortisol begins releasing, and initially this helps you cope. Yet, when this system stays switched on for day after day, year after year, it starts to break things down. And that goes terrible. Your immune system becomes dysregulated. You often fall sick. You often complain about severe headaches, some or the other issues happening. Your body starts showing up. Your sleep architecture changes. Your memory consolidation is affected. Your emotional regulation, the prefrontal cortex, literally starts to shrink. This is not a metaphor. Trust me. This is structural brain change documented in fMRI studies. This is little technical, but I thought, let me just what I learned, I just want to put this across here. And you know, since few years when I'm following Dr. Gabor Mate, a physician and trauma researcher, puts it beautifully. He says, the greatest damage done by neglect, trauma, or emotional loss is not the immediate pain. I again repeat, this is very crucial. The greatest damage done by neglect, trauma, or emotional loss is not the immediate pain they inflict, yet the long term distortions they induce in the way a developing child will continue to interpret the world. I would extend that to adults as well. The greatest damage of living misaligned is not the exhaustion you feel today. It's who you slowly stop believing you are. You start doubting yourself every time. So this is not, not even, not only dangerous for child, it gets challenged for the adults as well. Then part 2, identity suppression. This is the hidden epidemic. Now let's talk about the second cost. And this one, I think, is even more invisible, which makes it more dangerous. There is often a saying, right? The threat which is visible can be tackled at least, but something which you are not even, aware, or which you cannot see, that becomes very dangerous because don't know how it is going to hit you. That is identity suppression. Every time you silence your natural way of thinking to match the room, to match the environment around, to match your, say, parents' expectation, your social expectation, X, Y, Z, just living someone else's life to match the, to get the approval. That separation. Every time you choose the safe career path over the one that actually lights you up, that's suppression. Every time you perform a version of yourself that is, like I said, acceptable instead of authentic, your nervous system records that as a small act of self betrayal all the time. And that's keep on piling up. Like, for an example, someone just pursuing, you know, any studies to fulfill the parents' requirement or say parents' wishes. However, the interest is something and, completely different than this. So, what is that act? It is you are not accepting your true self. And that small acts of self betrayal, repeated daily, become the architecture of a life that doesn't feel like yours. Psychologist Mark Sanders' research on self monitoring shows us that people who chronically monitor and adjust their self presentation, who are always performing, experience significantly higher rates of anxiety, emotional exhaustion, and decreased sense of self worth over time. Is it even getting you the depth of what this line entirely means? You are performing for others happiness, to make someone happy, to make someone comfortable, to make someone's wishes or expectations or xyz adding up in the list. So what will happen at the end? That actually increases the anxiety, level, somewhere that creates that emotional exhaustion, and eventually it screws the entire self-worth, self-value, which is the most important thing. And one of the interview I heard of Bessel van der Kork, he said one line: the body keeps the score. Shows us that the unprocessed identity loss, the suppression of who we actually are, doesn't just stay in the mind, it lives in the posture, in the chronic tension patterns in the body. There are a lot of ways the body shows up, and here is the DMIT connection. And this is what makes our work so powerful on DMIT as well. That when your DMIT blueprint says you have high musical or spatial or interpersonal intelligence, and your daily life has none of that activated, your brain is literally in a state of deprivation. I would rather, I would rather create a separate video on what type of intelligence we have, and we would understand all of them little in depth. However, at this point, I'm just going to talk about in the blueprint, if it comes like somebody is interpersonal intelligence, somebody has intrapersonal intelligence, and so on. With all of this, if their daily life doesn't have those small doses of this activated, their brain will start functioning in a deprivated manner. The neural pathways that are our greatest strengths start starving, and the pathways you are forcing yourself down, they require 10 times the energy because they are not your not natural circuitry. You are not meant for that life, or you don't feel connected to it. And this is why you are tired. That is why you cannot figure out why motivation doesn't last. Just imagine during those troublesome time, you will see a lot of motivational videos coming in, watching Sandeep Maheshwari or say anybody. You will feel good for time being. Yeah, yeah, this is what is to be done. Ah, this is something I can do. This, that, XYZ. Are we getting any kind of a solution to act what needs to be really done during that period? Are we able to do that by just listening to them? No, because those motivational videos just last temporary. And because you are running the wrong program on the right hardware. Let's say something related to IT terminology. And the moment you begin to realign, I I see this in my clients almost immediately that the first thing that shift is not even the outer circumstances. It's the body. The shoulders drop, the breathing changes, the constant background noise in the nervous system quiets because the system is no longer at war with itself. Yes. And why I could say this, because like I said in yesterday's live, that one of my and experience with one of the parent, initially he was just curious to know what is this all about, because till date when we talk about what is emotional intelligence, what do you do, I mean, there's least awareness on what is this and why is this needed. We just focus on academics, we want to make that best, but we don't think about the initial steps that a child starts taking to grow. And I want to do something with you now, as I say that every session has some guided experience, so let's do that together. Okay, so you ready? So this is your alignment check. A practice you can return to any time you feel that is dull or unnamed heaviness. So as I tell you that these guided experience is not a permanent solution or will fix everything. And I always say there is nothing that you're not broken that you can need to be fixed. This is something, just a small exercise that you could do as a part till you get yourself deepen into these practices, these rituals, these procedures, process completely. So till then, I want you to do something that find a comfortable position and sit somewhere. You don't have to completely close your eyes. You can just soften your gaze. If you're standing, soften your knees. If you're sitting, feel the weight of your body in the seat. Just be there. Now take one slow breath in through your nose. Hold for just a moment and release through your mouth. Let's do that again. Take one slow breath in. Hold for a moment and release through your mouth. Let any tension in your jaw, your shoulders, your hands just fall away with that breath. Now, I'm going to ask you three questions. Don't answer with your mind first. Notice what your body says first. Question number one. Think about how you spent the majority of your time in the last 7 days. Your work, your roles, your conversations. Now ask yourself, does this feel like me? Or does this feel like a performance? Notice where you feel that answer in your body. Maybe a tightening in the chest, maybe a sinking feeling, maybe, if you are lucky, a form of warmth or a sense of rightness. Then, question number two. Think about one moment in the last week when you felt fully alive, fully present, not performing, not managing, just alive. Where were you? What were you doing? Who were you with? That moment, that is a data point. That is your alignment signature. Now, question three. Ask yourself, what is that one thing I have been telling myself is not possible, not practical, not for someone like me? That, if I'm honest, is the thing most aligned with who I actually am. Now place your hand on your heart and take that one more breath. And just silently say to yourself, I am not broken. I am misaligned. And misalignment can be corrected. Slowly, gently bring your awareness back into the room. Okay, so I would request drop a word in the comment, just one word that describes what came up for you in the exercise. Anything, if you feel comfortable to share. So, before ending, I would like to say that we have been on this journey for 19 days now, and you have been here even for a few of them. You know that this is not just content, this is a curriculum. Day 18, if you looked at your DMIT blueprint, what you are genuinely built for. Today, we looked at what it cost you when you live against that. Tomorrow, day 20, we are going to start talking about what realignment actually looks like in real life. Yes, not in theory, practically, with your actual schedule, your actual relationships, your actual life. And I want to say something to those of you who felt something during that alignment check just today. Who felt that tightening in the chest or that answer that came up that you immediately tried to dismiss? That feeling is not random. That is information. And information without action is just simply noise. And if you're ready to turn that information in actual change, I want to talk with you one on one. A discovery call where we look at your specific blueprint, your specific blocks, and what your aligned path forward actually looks like. So, here is what I want you to do right now, drop the word aligned in the comments. That's it. I just want who all. Let me type in first with this. Okay, so first word comes from me. So, as that alignment, what, just write down the word aligned, and I will personally send you the link to book that call. It's a clarity call because you deserve to know exactly what is possible for you with your specific wiring, your specific gifts that is God gifted. You have been doing day 19 of 30 days with me. That's tell me that actually clarifies it all, that you are serious, and I want to show you how seriously this could help. And I want to show up seriously for you in return. So, with this, I would like to end this session today. I will see you tomorrow. Rest well and remember your exhaustion has a reason, and that reason does have a solution. Till then, good day ahead. Thank you. See you tomorrow.